Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. We are on a new streaming service. So, if we should have any problems during this show, you have to blame the new streaming service on this, not us. Yeah. So, and we're trying to figure it all out. So, I think tonight, though, Jack's got something for us on Sputnik Monroe. And while he's doing that, we're going to, oh, by the way, Jack Lord, Rodney West with us, Brent West with the hat on tonight, Panama City, good place to visit. All right, Jack, you ready to get to Sputnik Monroe?
Let's get to her. Shortly after, Memphis City Judge Beverly Boucher handed down a $26 fine to the 235-pound man with a streak of white hair running down the middle of his grimacing head. Boucher told reporters that it was the first time she could ever recall seeing a white defendant being represented by a Negro attorney. The white man in front of the bench was Roscoe Monroe Merrick, better known by his stage name of Sputnik Monroe. His lawyer, Russell Sugarman Jr., faced Boucher and tried to argue that the police allegations over Monroe's disorderly conduct were unfounded. All he had done was visit a black cafe to hand out tickets to one of his professional wrestling events, a right afforded him according to the abolition of the Jim Crow laws. Boucher didn't respond to the argument and levied the fine anyway. It was January of 1960. Monroe would repeat this process several times, always accused of a vague infraction known as mopery, by drinking alongside black patrons. Each time, he'd just pay the penalty. In a segregated Memphis, Monroe was looking to make news and fill seats at Ellis Auditorium. The difference between Sputnik and other pro wrestlers of that era was that he welcomed and eventually insisted that his black fans sat wherever they choose. In living out his ring persona on a racially divisive streets, Monroe was about to single-handedly desegregate public venues, all while wearing his underpants. Monroe was born in Dodge City, Kansas on December 18, 1928, to a single mother. His father had died in a plane crash 1 month before his birth. When Monroe was 4, his mother remarried, this time to a baker named Virgil Brumbauer. That decision would have lasting effects on Monroe's sense of equality. His stepfather's bakery had black employees. His nanny was a woman of color. Monroe had never been given a reason to feel different or superior to the people who populated his life. When he was 17, Monroe entered the Navy and navigated his way through post-war assignments in Japan before leaving and decided to pick up impromptu grappling matches at carnivals. At 6 feet, 2 inches, and well over 200 pounds, Monroe was solidly built and had developed a taste for wrestling while in high school. He adopted the name Pretty Boy Rogue and began traveling to wrestling territories in the South just as the sport was introducing more colorful and bombastic performers with increasingly exaggerated violence. He didn't mind cutting himself with a razor to put on a bloody show for fans. He insisted that his streak of white hair came after he was blasted with a wooden, not steel, chair, a giant splinter having lodged in his head. Monroe had an aptitude for angering audiences, particularly when he would introduce a notion of racial equality into his appearances. In 1957, while driving to Alabama for a show, he grew so tired that he pulled over at a gas station and invited a young black hitchhiker to take the wheel. When he arrived at the arena, he slipped his arm around the man in a sign of solidarity. When the white audience jeered, Monroe leaned over and kissed him on the cheek. The crowd almost frothed at the mouth. One woman who had exhausted all of the typical invective language she could muster simply called him Sputnik, the Russian satellite that had recently gone up. It was supposed to be an insult, but the name stuck. As a self described grappler made of twisted steel and sex appeal, Word traveled to Memphis, then a hotbed for wrestling, that Monroe could draw a crowd, one that largely hated him, but a paying crowd nonetheless. In 1958, promoters invited him to town. Almost immediately, he began frequenting Beale Street, a stretch of road that was home to many black businesses. Monroe would dress outlandishly, laugh and drink with minorities, and pass out tickets to his matches. He repeated his visits every night for 6 months straight. On the date of the events, thousands of supporters would be lined up outside the arena door. But Ellis Auditorium, like virtually all public venues in the South, segregated their streets. Black attendees would be placed in a tiny crow's nest, a balcony in the nosebleed section, even if the white only seats on the floor were half empty. Monroe thought turning away paying customers was senseless, both morally and financially, and told the promoter as much. To prove his point, he started bribing the arena employee in charge of counting entrants to allow more black ticket holders inside. So many spilled in that building that they had no choice but to let them sit wherever they wanted. When he was confronted about the tactic, Monroe became belligerent. He could draw crowds of up to 15,000, making him the biggest star in Memphis wrestling history, and by default, their most profitable performer. There used to be a couple of thousand blacks outside wanting in, Monroe once told the Washington Times. So I would tell management I'd be cutting out if they didn't let my black friends in. I had the power because I'm selling out the place, the first guy that ever did, and they sure wanted that revenue. Green was the only color that mattered in the end. Ellis Auditorium quickly became the first gathering place in public and to be desegregated. According to wrestlers who knew him, Monroe never took a break from his gimmick of being an agitator. His wife and child dyed their hair to match his famous streak. So did local high school kids, whose yearbook photos would display evidence of their devotion to him. Once walking into a Dillard's department store with a black friend, he told the man not to remove his hat, which was typically done as a sign of servitude. Don't you take that damn hat off, he said. We may have a fight, but we ain't taking our hats off. Visiting a county fair one Sunday afternoon, he strolled up to some cowboys and suggested they get their shoes shined by two black children working nearby. When they ignored him, Monroe began pressing until one of the men knocked him unconscious. After claiming in the press that he was kicked by a bull requiring stitches, Monroe invited the man for a rematch in the ring, and the cowboy declined. Monroe kissed black babies, draped his arm around black friends, and generally behaved like he was completely oblivious to the racial divide. White crowds booed him. Black crowds loved him. Memphis became a capital of wrestling, and Monroe befriended the likes of Sam Phillips, Elvis Presley's producer at Sun Records, and he recorded a song. The more tensions eased in the 1950s, however, and the less disruptive Monroe appeared. As business dwindled, he began taking his act back on the road. A divorce, excessive drinking, and odd jobs kept him from enjoying the same success he had earlier. Once, when he was lacing up his boots to get ready for an appearance at Louisville at the height of his fame, a woman approached him and thanked him for getting her out of the crow's nest balcony at Ellis Auditorium. Monroe, she said, had really changed things for the better. Without many people around, the man who had picked fights with cowboys, cut himself with razor blades, insisted he wasn't a do-gooder, teared up a little. Then he went back to being the bad guy. In the 1970s, Monroe had an idea. He returned to Memphis, this time with a tag team partner named Norvell Austin. Austin was in his early 20s and happened to be black. When the two took the advantage over their opponents, Monroe would dump black paint over them and scream, "Black is beautiful," in an area still struggling to evolve from its biases. It was enough to put him back on the map. Monroe wound up wrestling into his 60s before settling down and getting steady work at a gas station. He died in 2006 at the age of 77. Memphis celebrates Sputnik Monroe Day every March 24th to honor his life and legacy.
Incredible story. Sputnik Monroe was an incredible man. There ain't no doubt about it. He was an incredible person, especially there in Memphis, Tennessee. Rodney, what did you think about the story?
That was an awesome story. It's an awesome story. Seeing that picture of Norvell, that was great too. He even had the blonde in his hair. That was awesome.
Yep. It was spectacular.
It's funny that Michael St. John says, in many places like around here, you mentioned wrestling, you have Tojo Yamamoto, Harry Thornton, but in Memphis, they still talk about Sputnik Monroe. So that tells you.
Well, they still talk about Sputnik in Birmingham too. He was a huge star at Boutwell back in his day. And I've run into a lot of older fans that, they'll find out I'm wrestling. And that's the first thing they'll ask me. They'll ask me if I know Bob or any of the others. They ask me, do you know Sputnik? You remember him? Well, yeah, I do.
Well, by the way, Rodney's got Sputnik Monroe book behind him back there. Great book, by the way. If you've not read this book, it is a tremendous book about Sputnik Monroe. He was tremendous. Are you guys ready to go see what the insiders have got to say? Again, if there's a problem with this, it's not my fault. It's somebody else's. I won't take the blame. All right, let's see who we got. Jeremy, Kane Travis. Good evening from the mighty Lawton, Fort Steele area. Dr. Philbo Grice is with us. Hello, gentlemen. Hello to you. Let's see if I can just hit these and they go away in the next one. Yeah, the next one comes up. Chad Coleman. What's up, guys? We are just sitting here, just got through talking about Sputnik Monroe, new streaming service for us. We're all learning all together tonight. We're all learning.
We're all in 1080p. So if the wrinkles and scars scare you, it's not my fault.
Mike, how you doing, sir? Good evening. Good evening to you. Special Sunday edition of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. Wesley Strickland said, my Lord, I went to the matches on Wednesday night matches. Roman Torres would be home after the matches. Thank Wesley Strickland. Brian Griffin said, my mom liked him. He was a character. Our father, Ron West, used to tell stories about Sputnik Monroe. So, Jeremy Kane Travis said, you know what Navy stands for? Never again volunteer yourself.
That's why I went Army.
Aaron Gartland, one of our supporters, a couple of our supporters also was on here. Rodney Malcolm broke down lots of barriers.
Yep.
Yes, he did. Sputnik was, really, I believe, are they not doing a movie on Sputnik?
I heard that they were, but I haven't heard any updates in a while. I'm sure COVID, put a halt to a lot of stuff for the time being. Hopefully they will get that done.
Let's see. Nick says, are you ready for Raw tomorrow night in the road to WrestleMania, Jack?
I'm ready for WrestleMania. I always enjoy WrestleMania. They have a huge full week of it. They Raw on Monday, the Hall of Fame on Tuesday, part 1 of the NXT WrestleMania show on Wednesday, Thursday night, part 2 of the NXT show. Friday night is SmackDown. Saturday night is part 1 of WrestleMania, and Sunday is part 2 of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So a full week full of wrestling that I may or may not be able to stay awake with. But we'll see.
Now, I will be honest with you. I will not be watching it this week. I've got so many other things to go on, but we will talk about it, though. We will talk about it because I will watch snippets of it, but I don't think I'll be watching the whole week's worth of stuff. But I believe I think it's going to be big for the WWE. Tom Moody, I saw him wrestle in Columbus. Yvonne Burns is with us. Yvonne Burns, hello from Western Pennsylvania. Dr. Philbo Grice, he tells us that's a fascinating story. And that's just a little bit of the story of Spucknick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's so much that I left out.
I mean, that story of Spucknick Monroe is incredible. It would make a great movie. Hey, Ruddy, by the way, have you read that book that's behind you there, the Spucknick Monroe?
I actually have not.
You need to take the time to read that book. It's good. I've read that one. I've read Bill Dundee's. I've read is that Ole Anderson's or Bo James's down back there?
That's Bo James and Ole Anderson.
I've read Bo James and Ole Anderson's book. All four great books. So if you get the opportunity to go buy those books and read them, they're really good. That was back when I read. I don't read them a lot now. Mickey Mayfield said, I heard of him, but I don't think he wrestled in the area. I grew up in Georgia. You probably would remember Rocket Monroe, though. I think he might have been in that era. And he got over pretty well in Georgia. Brian Griffin, awesome story, and never knew this. It is an awesome story. Spucknick Monroe. Don't y'all believe that anybody that's in professional wrestling should know the Spucknick Monroe story?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, don't you think so, Rodney?
Yes, absolutely.
I honestly think it's a story that whether you're a wrestling fan or not, you should know it.
Yeah.
Because what he did for race relations is historic.
Yeah. Melody, Mason, love you guys. Do you know Melody, Jack?
I sure do.
All right. Michael said he was a good man for standing up for what he believes in, and I would have done the same thing. Tanja Matthews is with us, gives us the 4 loves and 100. By the way, Tanja, big Bill Dromo for those wrestling fans out there. It was her father. Very good professional wrestler, by the way.
Awesome guy.
Brian Griffin gave us the wow on the story. Stuart Kemp, a great story told. I think Stuart, doesn't Stuart have some t-shirts, Jack?
He does. ProWrestlingTees.com. Go over there. Just pull up Stuart Kemp. He's got a couple t-shirts, fundraisers he's doing.
All right, so get over there.
Graphics are great. It's not exactly what we can share on the show, but the graphics are great.
By the way, just kind of help him out. He's had some medical issues and a lot of medical bills. So if you can get over there and help him out, that it would help him out greatly. Donovan Graham said, I remember the Monroe brothers in the Gulf Coast. Flash Rocket. Was they really brothers? I don't think so, were they?
I don't think so.
I don't really believe any of the Monroes was actually brothers. I think they just found people that looked a little bit like them and said, hey, let's make you a Monroe.
It's kind of like the Graham.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, where was I at? I already hit that one, didn't I?
Yeah.
Hello from the bun, baby. What? What?
He's got a bun. None of us have hair like that.
Big bun.
Yeah, it looks like somebody took a dump on his head.
Well, Christian, we're gonna have to actually get a picture of you, and we're gonna have to put it up there since you've talked about the bun. We've got to see this. We'll have to do that on a future show. David Lawson is on there. Surprise, surprise.
All right.
As Gomer Pyle used to say. By the way, did y'all know that Jimmy Cornette called our father, Rodney? Did you know he called him Gomer Pyle?
I did not know that.
Yes.
And
didn't
why
make
is
me
that?
mad or nothing, but I just.
When did he call him that? When did he call him that?
He called him Gomer Pyle because he was so country like Gomer Pyle was.
Oh, yeah.
Not. I don't think it wasn't really derogatory, but let's see.
Like a guy from Kentucky has much to say.
What I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
I don't know that. Maybe some other people caught him. I don't know. Charles Belfeller. Pooh. Hey, people, I've been up since 4:00, so if I mess up today, I'm sorry. Saw Spucknick and Rocket in tag matches in Georgia. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, Sputnik went everywhere. And I don't think that Sputnik. I think he drew. Did he not draw one of the biggest houses against Billy Wicks?
Yes.
Of anybody
Yep.
in Memphis, even to this day, the record has not been beat. Michael Barr, hello from Southeast Alabama. And let's see. Michael said also heard they are making a movie about the Von Erichs.
Yeah, I heard that too. And
who's making the movie? Is it WWE making it, or is it?
No, I can't. It could be. They could be executive producers on that. I know that Kevin is consulted with it, which is to me a good sign.
Mickey Mayfield said, off topic, Jack, did you make it through the entire race?
I did, but I was asleep the entire time. Which is the only way I can enjoy NASCAR.
Wow.
Michael Barr asked Rodney a question, said, Rodney, is it true that there were supposed to have been 3 Monroes, Flash, Sputnik, and Rocket?
That is correct, I believe, but I believe there's more than just those 3.
Yeah, it seems like there was another one.
It seems like there's
Maybe
a 4th
2.
one.
Yeah, I believe there are a few other ones. There might be 2 more Monroes. We'll have to look in on that and get back with you on Glenn Shelton, he said, was young when he came to Tennessee. I'd heard of him. Yeah, Sputnik Monroe is one of those guys that you want to. We'll talk more about him, the matches that he had, and the serious matches that he had. That was, I mean, they were tremendous. There was some tremendous matches, and he drew money everywhere. He just didn't draw money in Memphis. He drew everywhere he went. Paul said, you don't see the sleeper hold much anymore. In the old days, I like how the victor would revive his vanishing opponent with a slap to the back of the head. Now they use an MMA chokehold, and the wrestlers tap out. Yeah, people would do that. Ken Lucas used to bring fans in the ring, and he would put them to sleep. Right? I mean, because sleeper hold is a real hold, by the way, folks.
Oh, yeah.
It does work, and it can put people to sleep. It is a real hold. And Ken Lucas used to do it. I'm pretty sure there's other people that used to do
Mark
it as well.
Lewin used to do it too before he went all maniac-y. Is that a word? Maniac-y?
Yeah, it is.
All
now.
money, same color for both. Glenn Shelton.
Exactly.
Tanja said, "Thank you." Well, we certainly appreciate you coming on and joining us as well on this show. And Big Bill Drummond, we're gonna have to do a show on him and have you actually come on here, Tanja, and talk a little bit about your father. Y'all need to get Thunderbolt live on here. I've been told he has awesome stories from back then.
Great.
Oh, that would be tremendous. I have tried to contact him. He's never gotten back with me. He does like some of our photographs on Facebook, but he's never gotten back with us on wanting to talk to him. Michael Barr said prayers out to Stewart. Yes, I think Stewart's doing better. He just, how them bills can.
He spent a considerable amount of time in the hospital.
Yes. Needs some Bosley.
No, I have self-respect. I don't need hair bunched up on the top of my head. I could still grow a ponytail, but it would not connect to the top.
I'm gonna tell you, I like this new kind of look over here, but does it take a little long for it to pop up, or is it just because I need to hit it a little sooner?
No, it's coming up just fine with me.
Is it coming up all right? Okay, I just want to make sure. Now, again, I have been up since 4, so everything could be moving in slow motion for me. I'm not for sure. Next thing you tell us, the Andersons wasn't brothers. Oops. Let's see. My screen is blurry. Has been since Tuesday. How about everybody else's? How's the video coming up? Is it looking good for you? Is it looking bad? How's the sound for everyone? We're trying out this new streaming service just to see. Richard said there was a Jet Monroe.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking there's some more.
I thought there was a couple of more. Michael, he said that would be awesome to hear Thunderbolt stories. Yes, I'd like to. Yeah, I know he's got some great stories. Yvonne, do you know if Sputnik got his fair share of the money when he drew the big crowds? I'd say he did.
Yeah, because if he didn't, there wouldn't have been a return match.
So that is correct.
Yeah. Wesley said, who was the first masked wrestler in Georgia? Man, ain't no telling.
Yeah, we'd have to do some research on that. I know there was a masked Marvel back in the 20s, but I don't know if he ever made it to Georgia or not.
Johnny Walker says, so glad to finally get to see this show. I admire and respect Ronnie West so much, and to see Jack in there is awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Let's see. I love man buns. Tanya.
Yes, you do, Tanya.
Wesley said it's good. Tanya said, looks great here. All right, so good. We just want to make sure it's looking good. Michael said his is he said, I just buys mine off, forgot about it. Well, okay, that's good. Sometimes you have to do that. Glenn Allen said it's sharp. It's coming in sharp. Good. Christian said that the video and sound are great. Dr. Philbo Grice, the video looks great to me. Michael said it's fine here. So, this might be our new streaming service. So we'll see here. Mark said video looks great. They even got the, what's that little thing at the end of there? I ain't thinking too good today, but
explanation.
Thank you, Rodney. I appreciate that. Aaron said it'd also be great to hear from Norvell, and maybe we can get Norvell on.
I do have his son on Facebook,
so maybe through his son, maybe we can get Norvell Austin on. We will check on that, and we're going to have a special guest on. Is it Tuesday? It's Tuesday night, isn't it? Not tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and we're going to see if we don't have any problems getting guests on this new streaming service. So. And we're hoping we don't, so we can bring a lot of guests on. Michael Barr, it looks and sounds good here, and Brent, I'm looking forward for an hour that went missing this morning.
And on a side note, Michael Barr is the only one with enough hair to do a man bun. Besides the bun.
Let's see. Glenn Allen said crystal clear. Let's see. For some reason, I jumped all the way down. Chad, this is my question to you guys. How do you think Bobby Lashley will remain the WWE World Heavyweight Champion on Raw, and who will it take to beat him?
I like Lashley as champion. And this is nothing against Lashley. I just don't think WWE pushes their champions as being actual champions. It's just somebody filling a role to them. And, and I hate that for him because the guy should have been champ 10 years ago. I'm glad to see him with it. But, where he goes from here, I don't know. Maybe they'll bring Brock Lesnar back. I don't know. There's just no telling.
Stern Kemp said it looks great. Wilson, I think Wilson Nightstand said, did you meet Tommy Rich? Yes, we met Tommy Rich. Let's see, Rodney, we met Tommy Rich in 1977, right?
Right, maybe 76.
Might have been in 1976. We met Tommy Rich and worked with him off and on, and really enjoyed our time with Tommy Rich. Sometimes, I don't want to say that. I'm just joking. Tommy was good. Tommy was one of the greatest wrestlers that ever. He knew what he was doing. Yep. He was a spectacular wrestler. All right, Jack, when did you meet Tommy Rich?
Oh, gosh, early, mid-'80s, somewhere in there. And of course, the infamous, my first real good, our first match with him, from Continental, which if you're a supporter, you got to hear that story once, and I'll repeat it again sometime. But you got to be a supporter to hear that story.
By the way, we did pick up 2 new supporters. Johnny Turner was one of those supporters, and for the life of me, I cannot remember the other guy right now. I'll figure it out here in a minute. But like I said, I've been up since 4, so I'll try to figure out the other guy. David Lawson said, I remember the podcast Cornette talks about Ronnie. He said he had a shucks attitude, kind of like Gomer Pyle type. Nothing really derogatory. Leon said he loved Ronnie West. Yes, he did.
Well, I'm being honest. I never saw an shucks. I saw attitude quite a bit, when you weren't doing what you're supposed to do.
Glenn said everything is sounding good. Let's see. Christian said, if it's Brock, I'm turning out.
You are not. You're subscribing to the Peacock Network.
Oh, yeah. Charles, true. El Mongo had the best.
There you go. Christian Pierce, let me educate you. We need to make you a Mongo. I got the hookup. I know his son.
Prayers for Tojo Yamamoto Jr. Last I saw, he was in the hospital with breathing problems. Yes, we like to pray for him. Michael Barr, Rodney or Brent, do you have any mask from any of the old school wrestlers? Nope, I don't have any mask.
No mask.
No, Jack, do you have any mask?
No, I make replicas. Of course, I used to make them for Bob and a few other guys, but I don't keep any.
Christian said Tommy Rich is the only wrestler who is allowed to wear costume boots off of eBay.
Not without me making fun of him, he's not.
Christian said, "Fight me." I think that's what he meant. I'm not for sure. There could be something else.
Like I've already beat you up. So what?
Let's see, David.
I'd like to say that Christian's good, but he's
not. Sounds looks good now. All right, good. Chad said, well, okay. Chad will say something in a minute when he comes up. Wire for Tommy Rich was my favorite wrestler. And late Butch Reed and Johnny Weaver, Miss Wrestling 2, the Big Cat Area Lad. I always used to come to a hometown of Thibodaux, Louisiana. Mid-South Championship president. Yes, love Thibodaux.
Awesome town.
Yeah, loved Thibodaux, Louisiana. Been there several times, Chad.
And there's some great groups on Mid-South Wrestling on Facebook. If you're not a member, Chad, you should hook up to them because they bring some great history back.
Joel is on with us. Joel Bateman. Hi, everyone. And then Tanja was replying to someone. Yvonne, whoops. All right, I did something. Now, I don't know what I did. I'm not for sure what I did. But anyway, I hit something over here. And maybe I can bring it back on. But something got hit. I don't know what happened, but something got hit. Hey, if you've sent a reply, for some reason I just lost it all. Maybe I can come back to it. Maybe it'll come back on. No, it's not going to come back on that easy. I hit something over here, folks. And so if you sent more, Jack, do you see the? Or did they lose?
Yeah, I can see some of them. Right. Yvonne Burns, Jack, you're exactly right about WWE champ. It's not as big of a deal as it used to be. Mark Oyancy, I think. What was your most memorable wrestling event you attended in person? For me, it was the Wrestling 2 Mass Superstar Cage match in 1979 in Columbus, Georgia. It was the turning point for me. Rodney?
Oh, for me, it was always the Thanksgiving night tournaments at the Omni. That for me always was a big deal, and I always. In fact, I was just thinking about those the other day about how and then they never used the big matches for Thanksgiving night that normally led into the Christmas night, and I was always thinking about how the holidays back then, Thanksgiving, Christmas, etc., were always premier events. And I was thinking about that just the other day.
I don't know, folks, but I lost them all.
David Lawson said Missing Link had a great man bun. He certainly did. Michael Barr, Jack, I will let you get by this time about my man bun. Just don't. Shucks, forget about it. Christian Pierce said that I am the best looking man on the podcast. I think that's what he said. That's what he meant anyway. Pat Rose, finally. Hey, guys. Hey, Pat.
Hey, Pat.
I'm glad you woke up from your NASCAR nap, too, because I did. Joel Bateman, my favorite wrestler was The Rock, the Road Warriors, and Steve, Dr. Death Williams. Dr. Philbo Grice, maybe we should take bets on how long WWE allows Lashley to remain champion. I don't bet on it too long. Nope. David Lawson, any T.J. Khan stories? Another great man bun. I have no stories on T.J. Khan. Mickey Mayfield, Wrestling 2 versus Slater baby bottle match at the Omni.
Yeah, that would be good matches.
And Michael Barr said, Brent, you hit the brakes. That is, we're caught up.
Okay, well, I don't know what happened. I hit something. Again, this is a new streaming service, so hopefully this does not happen. But I did hit something, and I can't read nothing. I can't see nothing on here. Again, not my fault. It was a streaming service problem. At least I think we did get everybody in. Jack, any closing comments? Got anything about Russell South?
WrestleSouth.com, Russell South on Facebook, Russell South Pro on Twitter, Russell South 1 on Instagram. Go like us, follow us, share us, help us grow. We got a lot of stuff coming up in May, and it's going to be a busy year. Not just here, but there too. And of course, we all work together.
Yes. So I hope this worked out for everybody. It did work out till I hit hit something and turned off the chats, but I will figure that out before tomorrow night. And tomorrow night, meet us 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Be with us as we continue our. If you've not become a supporter, you'll get to hear some of the stuff that we talk about that never makes these live shows. All right, folks, thank you so much for being a part of this special stream. And I think this will be our new streaming service, so we will be picking up from there. I'll just make sure the next time I do not hit whatever button that I hit to turn everything off. And there you see, Jack, WrestleSouth.com. So get over there. If you're not, go to the website, find all their information that you need to find out. So because I think, Jack, in the next week or two, you're going to be making a special announcement on there, correct?
Mm-hmm. Going to be releasing dates for our first shows in May.
All right, so get over there and do that. Thank y'all so much for being a part.
And we were live tonight. Kevin was asking if we were live.
Yes,
they were live. I'm live tonight. Late,
but now, if you can't tell that we're live tonight, it's and be honest with you, very rarely do we cut anything out anyway. No. We just let it go. All we do is edit out the parts. If you're watching on YouTube, if you've not subscribed on YouTube, get over there and subscribe to YouTube, because there's a lot of videos you're not going to see. And I'm going to tell you, the only things that get cut out is we do 2 videos per day, and we do cut those out, maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes. But we talk about 45 minutes during those times. 20 minutes of videos, and then the rest of the time we're just talking about stuff that we wouldn't talk about.
Kevin thought he thought this was an old one.
Yeah, I'm old.
An old show, yes. An old show.
No, it is new. It is new. We are on here live. So what is today? The 14th, March 14th, 2021, 8:38 p.m. at this point in Eastern Standard Time. I think Jack at 7:38 where he is.
Kevin said Sunday's an odd day. Yeah, this was a test drive of our new streaming service, Kevin.
That's right.
Yes, and then the only problem I think we found out is, as usual, the person directing it messes up at some point throughout the whole show. That's the reason. We need supporters.
If we can get enough people, subscribing, we're going to hire Brent's wife as director.
Somebody's got to do it. You know what I'm saying? All right. Thank y'all so much. And we'll see you tomorrow night right here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. And now let's see if I can hit the button.